So the next partner actually doesn't need any introduction. I think they're going to get a key to the city soon because they're so embedded in Mombasa. But you all know the Conrad and Hilton Foundation here in Mombasa. They have made a big commitment to this city. They've made a big commitment to LA, to New Orleans, to Mexico City. And they also embody the kind of values that we try to represent at the Global Opportunity Network. Commitment to place, the power of communities and young people to shape their own futures, and long-term funding commitments to ensure that the work can happen over a sustained period. So Jeffrey, if you could come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Jamie. What's up, everybody? My goodness gracious, y'all was playing Nelly. Me and Nelly are from the same city, so that was all good. So good to be here in Mombasa. And Jamie, we're so proud of you. So let's give it up for Jamie. I'm not doing that cartwheel, man. But I am doing this. I am going to salute you and salute the work of GOYN because it is doing the kind of work that needs to take place in a time such as this. Do y'all agree? Long, long time, for many, many years to come. So thank you for the partnership. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing. And let me give you a quick story before we go. Nelly, right before he hit it big, we went to the same barbershop and he was hustling cassette tapes just like that one out of his car. And y'all see how big he is? It's all about the hustle, folks. So we wish you all the best. We love you, and we are thankful for the privilege of being your partner. Take care, everybody.
Nice. You want to sing a refrain for us? Thanks, Jeff. Excellent. Well, last couple of folks I want to call up are fairly new partners, but we're really, really thrilled to be working with them. One you just heard from, if you were in the breakout session here. Several people have come up to me and said, this woman needs a bigger platform. So, Donna, I want to invite you up because the Kellogg Foundation has been a partner for the last couple of years, and we hope to build a bigger, broader partnership with them because we know she's as committed to this work as all of you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Bonjour. So I'm greeting you in my people's language because the energy that I'm getting from you, everything that I'm learning, the richness, unfortunately, you have family and peers who are in Haiti who couldn't be here with you, but who wanted to be here with you. So I bring them in spirit and bring them in the room and mention them to you so that you know that next time you will be meeting with your Haiti partners. I can't thank you enough for the welcome, the love, the energy. I was just talking to Petula, and we were talking about how much of this work we get the courage to continue doing because of the work you're doing and the leadership you're setting and the example you're setting and the lessons that you're teaching us. So it is for me to say thank you. I'm thanking you on behalf of my team. I'm thanking you on behalf of the Kellogg Foundation. We're a foundation who believe in the potential in reality in this lifetime of youth power and leadership. And because of that, we're engaging with you not just as a co-creator, but think of us as an ally. Think of us, of our extended network, as a family. And thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you for welcoming me with open arms. I feel at home, and I know that I'll be back. And thank you so much, Jamie. And please clap for yourselves for the work that you do and the leadership that you set. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Lastly, our newest partner, who we were able to introduce formally this year, has actually been a thought partner for quite a long time. When we started the Global Opportunity Youth Network, we were really intent in linking up with other established global networks who care about young people, who want to work with us to advance this mission. And IREX has come on board as a new global partner. We're really proud to have them. They bring an immense array of experience in youth leadership, resources and toolkits like the Learn to Discern work that was presented today, and there's another workshop tomorrow. And we hope we'll be able to build additional learning and joint work with IREX in the years to come. So I want to just invite Magda up to say a brief word of hello.
Thank you, Jimmy. And before I start, I just wanted to, I've been wanting to try this for a few days, so woyo! Awesome. Well, I just wanted to say IREX is really thrilled and humbled to join the Global Opportunities Youth Network. I was trying to think about, how to summarize this really quickly because I know we want to get on with our program. And this African proverb keeps coming to my mind, and it's, if you want to go fast, go alone, right? But if you want to go further in a more sustainable way, join a network, join peers that are passionate about, working for and with young people. So we're thrilled to be joining the Global Opportunities Partner Network and our global partners. And for the young people here, let me say I'm thrilled to see that this convening is not relegating you to the future, because the future is now, you are now. So we're really excited to stand with you and to work for and with you, and there certainly is an exciting cohort of 1.8 billion reasons to be excited, so we're really looking forward to working with you. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of the absolutely amazing convening. Thank you all.
Thanks so much. So the last person I'm going to call up, I think she's going to do a triple flip. No? Come on, Alice. Nothing? No! So Alice needs no introduction to this community, this group. She is as committed as anybody to this mission, to Mombasa particularly, to Kenya, and personally, at a very, very personal level, has been my deepest thought partner and strategic partner since we began. She and I remember being together in one of the first design meetings where she was drawing actually recreating a map of the world as we thought about what we could do together. We still have that picture, which we'll have to, pull up at some future convening. But Alice Gugulev from the Global Development Incubator and her whole team have been spectacular partners. So I'm going to ask her to come up, say a few words, and then she's going to bring up the panelists to start our final plenary panel. Let's give a big, big shout out to Alice.
Oh my God. So absolutely, we did have a world map, and somehow we're in even more locations that I drew, and it is extraordinary. And it really is about local context, local place, and the young people in each location. And so it's only right that we're ending this day with a panel of some amazing locations around the world, young people, and great partners. And so this is called The Power of Place, How Local Context Matters for Development. We're so excited to bring out some great speakers here. We're going to take up the whole stage. We have a lot to say. There's going to be 7 of them. So when I call your name, and we're getting some chairs here, please do come up to the stage. We have Amruta from Pune, Nayara from Sao Paulo. We have 2 amazing young people from Mombasa, Joseph and Amina. Amazing. Then we have Elizabeth Chung from Hilton Foundation. Take a moment to appreciate the outfit, the red lipstick. We're all about fashion here. I don't know if you guys know. We have an Instagram page on shoes. So just so you know, what is it? Walk with Mombasa. That's it. Woo! All right. Last couple of great communities in the U.S. because we have, for many of you that don't know, we also go a lot of the U.S. convenings, and we're so excited to have some of our U.S.-based partners. From L.A., we have Lori. definitely not least, for those that have been to New Orleans, please welcome Michelle. Amazing. All right, so it's interesting. I'm going to just start with a really brief personal story from this morning. I've been told I need to be more vulnerable. I do, apparently. And so I will share that there's been an incredible day of highs and connections and music and learning and so many things that we've done. But I'll tell you what I need right now for just a moment. I need to close my eyes and take 3 big breaths. So if you care to join me just for a moment as we're gonna join in and listen to our speakers, I need a minute. Thank you. Thank you for that. There's a lot going on in the world and right here in our communities. So to take the time for yourself and healing is so important. I also, in a moment of vulnerability, will own some mistakes I've made. So yesterday, I forgot to mention a couple of communities in my remarks. So if I can have a shout out to Pune and PCMC. We don't have them here yet, but we're starting a new community under the Foundation Botner grant in Bhubaneswar in India. So let's do a shout out for Bhubaneswar. And lastly, our neighbors to the south in Tanga, Tanzania. What's really awesome, by the way, around Tanga is that we are trying to build connections of Swahili youth across the coast. And so how awesome would it be to have this kind of energy, these kinds of connections and peer-to-peer exchanges from Lamu to Malindi, Watamu, Kilifi, Mombasa, Diani, and Shimoni, and all the way down to Tonga, maybe even Mozambique someday. Incredible. Very common stories. Zanzibar, of course. Maybe someday in Zanzibar. All right, so over to our panel. We've actually, I'll have you know, a while back when Jamie and I were meeting around this GOYN work, before it was GOYN, there were a lot of common themes that had come out. And you'll hear the residents today that context really matters. We don't want to have top-down approaches in any way. That there's no silver bullet. You hear this a lot. It's a suite of solutions. We need all these things. That efforts are fragmented. We really need to coordinate and create this collaborative infrastructure. That everything's subscale to the size of the challenge. And critically, we need youth voice. And so very much this panel is about all of those things, but I've decided, in collaboration with many others, to rename the panel completely to encapsulate what GOYN is about. So with inspiration from others, Ruchi, with inspiration from others, we renamed this approach Love, Money, and Magic. What do you guys think? Our new tagline. I feel like those are the 3 things that make things happen. So I even connected it to real strategic-like things. So love, we really need local partners and building collaboration, trust, and love. We actually need to get financed, so obviously money. And we have to shift power to the local context, to the local structures, local people, local youth, local communities, and really create resilience to create significant local and scaled and sustainable impact. So, This year's theme renamed to be Love, Money, and Magic. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our panelists. So maybe starting with you, Amruta. Now, just 2 seconds on Amruta. Every time I feel like I need a burst of energy or a reconnection with who I am, I come to Amruta and she sets me straight. Whenever I'm thinking too much about money, I think Amruta just encapsulates love. And so I'd love to start with you. Why does place important? And Amruta's from Pune. And so she is incredible in all of the things that she does for the city. So share with us your perspectives, how you think about the ecosystem and really shifting systems in Pune and PCMC. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice. It's really inspiring to be with each one of you. Why the space is important? Because the place-based approach is about the collaboration. It's about the long-term impact. For a person who is born in poverty, to come out of poverty, it takes 15 years, 10 years. And the commitment with GOYN is the long-term commitment. In the context of Pune, Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, we talk about the dream that no youth is left behind. I have sent the presentation to our tech team, and I request to show the slides. What we have done is we have taken into consideration each and every slum community. We have actually mapped these boundaries on the map. Then we have mapped skilling partners. These are just not the dots on the maps. We have built this love and trust-based relationship, the relationship that emphasizes on the collective growth, collective well-being. We have also mapped the placement partners. So far in Pune, we have 16,000 placements. Lighthouse Communities Foundation, it's all the programs, of course, GOYN Pune. We have achieved 16,000 placements. The presentation hasn't come, but I will show you later, or we will send it to you. The idea is to work towards changing, transforming the disempowering norms. Why place-based approach? Because we do not want to leave a single youth, and as Alice said, we want every number, there is a story behind, there is a context behind, and therefore, when we work with all the stakeholders, the government, the donors, the civil society organizations, placement partners, businesses in the city come together with one mission that each youth needs to grow in the context of our collective well-being.
Thank you so much for that. Amazing. And hopefully we will get the slides up, because what they've done in Pune is extraordinary. Truly mapped out every single service, every slum community, and they go in and meet with every family of these young people to bring them into their agency and opportunity. So thank you for that. Over to you, Nayara, for Sao Paulo. Can you tell us a little bit more from your perspective of GOYN Sao Paulo? What have been the approaches that you've taken towards place-based solutions?
Great. Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here with you. In São Paulo, the place-based approach is really important for us because it's all about listen to young people that live in favelas, in territories, and understand their context. If you don't listen to young people, you will lose money, you will lose time, you will be wrong at the end of your pathway, your intervention. In São Paulo, 70% of young people, they are black, they are women, and they live in the favelas. If you don't take into account that they take 2 hours to go from the favelas to work, that's 4 hours a day to go to work. If you don't take into account that most of them, they are about 16 years old, and they are mothers and fathers. They are studying and working at the same time. If you don't take that into account, you won't retain them in work. The companies will hire, but they won't keep them at work. Because you need to understand your audience, your public, your youth, your employer. to keep them in your company. If you don't know that, you do a lot of things, but you lose money because your strategy needs to understand your public, and not just superficially, deeply. You need to take them and listen to them to make your strategy. In São Paulo, we do immersions, and we try to put companies and CEOs and HR leaders to listen to OI, to listen to Opportunity Youth before they hire them. And we try to prepare the companies before taking OIs to the company. Because it's important that the companies know the contest before. You know, and the companies, they need to be prepared as much as the Opportunity Youth. They need to understand before, you know, and I think that's what occurs to me.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm gonna actually, thank you for that. They're a great leader in the Sao Paulo area. I'm gonna switch over to hear from a couple of young people first. So if you were waiting for the end, that's not gonna happen. So Joseph, you've done a lot in this community, especially of bringing different stakeholders together, young people, government, private sector, uplifting youth voices. Tell us a little bit more of your experience, because sometimes place-based, what does it mean? If you can share with us why it's important for a young person in Mombasa.
Place-based is very important because...
Sorry, can you introduce yourself?
Sorry. My name is Joseph Nazareth. I'm the current chairperson of Lonama Community-Based Organization. And I'm part of the Youth Hub Network here at GOYN and Swahili Port. I have a career spanning to almost a decade in the civil society and working with young people. And one thing that I've learned that is interesting in working with young people, we need to move from the conventional way of funding, looking into young people from the challenge perspective towards the opportunity. We see young people as opportunities to invest rather than challenges to address. Because if you see a young person as an opportunity...
Can you say that again?
We need to see youths as opportunity to invest rather than challenges to address.
You guys got that?
Because if you invest in an opportunity, there is potential for growth, there is potential for pulling in other partners and growing the network. So in the local context, understanding first enabling factors for these young people, you take time to create opportunities for them, let them be free, remove the conventional requirements for funding, for programs, because I believe we at a time where we need to be creative and innovative so that now we can unlock our full potential and full force. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you. Amazing. Now, next I'm going to ask Amina to share her thoughts around place-based approaches. Now, Amina's been working on this for quite some time and really an incredible youth leader here for GOYN. So Amina, over to you. If you can share your thoughts of what makes place-based approaches, how do you make them successful? What's critical for them to really work in Mombasa?
Thank you. My name is Amina Mahmoud. I'm a member of Swahili Port Hub and a health lead and the GOYN initiative. Well, part of what I've been doing in the 2 years has led me to land as one of the board member of Mtongwe Vocational Training Institute through the Ministry of Education in the county government. And I think this is another opportunity for me to get to share what we're learning and actually instilling what you're talking about, place-based approach into the different institutions and in different communities for them to actually understand this approach. But what's my understanding around that? It's actually, for example, you getting into Mombasa and getting to understand what's the culture around Mombasa. getting to understand how are people behaving in Mombasa. And it was evident when Malenga was talking on our first day, when he said, someone walked into Mombasa and said, the youths are lazy in Mombasa. But you actually realize it's not laziness. It's not about you seeing people running around the streets for you to know that we are working hard. No, it's just about how we're planning ourselves to make sure that by the end of the day, we achieve our objectives. And how we'll get to win this is, one, through transparency. Even as we are encouraging collaboration in our different communities, one thing that we need to embrace is transparency. Yeah, we are talking about money, yes, but how are we utilizing this money? How are we getting to gain trust of the different donors around us? Those who are willing to hold our hands and support us to achieve our goals. So transparency is one thing that we really need to embrace, and by that, we'll get to achieve what we want in a collaborative way. And another thing is long-term, I'm looking at long-term sustainability for us. You see, if we look at everything in a place-based way, then it means the youths are able to embrace what you're bringing. The youths are able to actually pick it up, understand the context, understand why we are doing it. And even when you leave, they're still able to run things. I mean, let's say GOYN is going to run for 10 years, but after 10 years, will you come back and say there's still the presence of GOYN? So then it means continue engaging the youths, building up their capacity, and then in the long run, we get to instill sustainability in the community. Thank you.
And that's the definition of systems change. Amazing. Thank you. Well, we talk about money, but actually Elizabeth's incredibly committed to the people here. Sometimes donors are far away, they don't understand. She knows everybody here by name. She keeps coming back. It is a totally different relationship. It is not transactional in any way. I'm so inspired. And a great systems thinker. So, Elizabeth, tell us what's your magic as a donor to support place-based approach and systems change?
Oh, that's a big question, because magic is so ineffable. But I think we realized that place was incredibly important when we actually started working in New Orleans. When we started this work, everyone asked us, well, what's the thing that you're going to do? Like, what's the approach you're going to take? What's the program you're going to have? And I was like, well, I don't have anything except a set of principles, and the first of those principles is that communities should be able to decide what it is that they want. And I don't know if you know about New Orleans, but it is an incredibly special place, and I'm so excited that Michelle is here to talk about it. Los Angeles is an incredibly special place too, but different. But New Orleans has also had a history, and it is a city in the United States that exemplifies resilience. And one of the things about working in New Orleans that I quickly learned was that if we wanted to create longer-term change, if we wanted to actually do something for young people and ensure that they could lead lives that empower them, that give them financial freedom, that we would actually have to listen to them and listen to the way that the systems that were impacting them were not working. And so from the beginning, we decided that we would be an intensely place-based funder, because that would allow us to get to know a place, be in a place, and understand the way systems and cultures and context and the young people all come together to build the communities in which they live. Because we know young people, they are so filled with potential. We believe in the power and promise of every single young person. And we know they live in families, and we know they live in communities. And we believe that when young people thrive, it's not just them, it is their families, their communities, and the world that is going to thrive alongside them. And so that we've built that into the way that we fund.
Amazing. Thank you, Elizabeth. Woo! So we have a lot to learn from some of the examples in the US, and I'm very excited to have Lori here to talk about how she brings youth voice to the table in LA and some of the place-based approaches that you're undertaking in Long Beach, because LA is very big. So maybe you can tell us your definition of place and how you put together and what we can learn from that here around the world.
Sure. Los Angeles is a huge geography. There's 10 million people who live in Los Angeles, and part of our journey is partnering with young people, partnering with community-based organizations, and partnering with government. And young people are the experts of how systems work. And so we wanted to place them at the front of the conversation to be able to describe to our government partners what's working and what's not working. And then young people are giving recommendations on how to help make systems work better. And so for us, the power of place is about relationships. It's about building trust. It's about building goals that are interconnected to other organizations. That way we're all rowing the oars in the same direction. And so our young people have been at the table with our mayor's office, the board of supervisors, our elected government officials, talking about what they believe works, what doesn't work, and what we should do differently. And that's a game changer for us, because 5 years ago it wasn't happening. Young people were being tokenized, they were being listened to, but they weren't being heard. And so it is very powerful now that we have created a space in our communities, and each community is different and has different solutions, different strengths, different challenges. And how do we go into a community and not talk about what can we do, but what can the community, what do they need, and then how do we help build that to make sure it's reflecting the needs of each person.
Great. Woo! LA. Represent. All right, thank you. And Michelle, it's interesting, you're bringing so much around justice and healing to the work that you're doing in place in New Orleans. One of my favorite places in the world. It's such an incredible place for those that haven't been. Share a little bit more about your journey.
Yes, before I get started, yes! From New Orleans to Mombasa, our people will be free. And in order for that work to happen, we center our work around place-based approaches in healing justice. So deeper than just talking about individual healing, right? Because unfortunately, we live in a world that has been impacted by imperialism, colonialism, and white supremacy. And it has put our young people and all of our people in places where we experience trauma on a daily basis. And we're told that we have to focus on just economic mobility. If you just get the money, you'll solve the problems. And it's deeper. It's about collective healing. It's about institutional healing, changing the systems in which our young people live in. So our work in New Orleans, I have the honor of working for the New Orleans Youth Alliance, which is a youth intermediary organization that has been around for only 5 years, but we are a small and mighty team. I would be remiss if I also did not shout out the amazing young people, our youth advisory board and our youth council, who help us to put this work together. So how we center place-based approaches is New Orleans has a unique history, being very much rooted in African retention, and not just resilience, but resistance. We think about the slave revolts that have happened through the 1800s to free our people, and how that has a historical context to the way in which a black majority city in the United States is often left in despair around economic growth, around development, and also around community healing. So our work is centering around, one, of course, uplifting our young people because they are the present in our future. They also have all the solutions. There's very little work for us to do. We do that work by also making sure that we are focusing on the systemic inequities that happen in economic mobility. So not just talking about the need for training for young people, but really talking about what are the root causes that are impacting young people's ability to sustain and to do so in a way that is not just sustainable for money, but sustainable to their souls as people.
Incredible. Talk about that. Sustainability for their souls. My goodness. Thank you for sharing. Very powerful. And so I just want to take it back a little bit, and I want to ask everyone to think of a few questions to also ask our panelists, because I know you're thinking about that. So take it upon yourselves to think of a few things you want to have each of them end with. So on that topic, one of the things that you hear here is deep engagement with the community and deep engagement collectively and on an individual basis. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Amruta, when you're going into the field and you're working deep in slum communities in Pune, tell us a little bit more about that story. Maybe even give an example of someone you've met, and how do you connect that individual story to the group, the collective, and the shifts you're seeing that have to happen in Pune or PCMC. Would really appreciate that. Thank you. And now the slides are up.
I'll quickly show the slides and complete the point that I was making. Request next slide. Next slide.
Next slide.
So we have mapped all the slum communities in Pune. Our CEO, Ruchi, she meticulously works on this community mapping exercise. So the green dots are the slum communities. We've mapped each and every slum community on the Google Earth Pro. Next slide. We have also mapped all the lighthouse centers. Next slide. Now, here you see every dot, a green dot or a maroon dot or a yellow dot. These are young people. We have taken into consideration the milestones, every milestones. What happens when a young person is enrolled? Collectively, it is our responsibility. Alice said, right, a young person at full potential with her name. So who is this young person? What happened after enrollment? These are the numbers for the Pune city. Overall, now we have 16,000 placements, but every person who's enrolled, after the enrollment, when the technical skilling program starts, the dot changes, the color changes, and then when they are placed or they start their entrepreneurship, the color changes. We track every young person in this manner. Similarly, next slide. We want to talk about next slide. Yeah. So we want to talk about all the skilling partner organizations and placement partner organizations. It's not just about a young person who needs to change. It's also the employer who has come forward and said that, we would like to change. We would like to teach English to young people from slum communities because they did not have an opportunity. So we have planned all these placement organizations. As we look at this map, the sense of oneness comes in mind. As we hear each of these panelists, there is a sense of oneness, the value of oneness, that all of us together are making an impact. Next slide. Yeah. And we have now taken into consideration communities where more than 20% youth are impacted. All of us have heard the word tipping point or the influence of one or the other. For example, when 5 friends take one motorbike, we also consider taking the same motorbike, right? There is that effect because of our community. So we want to understand how does the inflection point work when 20% people in the community say that I will work informal sector. I will ensure saving. I will ensure well-being. I will ensure women in my family's work. Does that impact the entire community? And then we move from incremental change to the overall transformative process that everyone is committed to the change. And this inflection point, maybe all of us can study. Our donors can guide us, our partners can guide us. And if we are able to establish this model, then the voice of youth will become very, very strong.
Incredible. It's that sustainability for the soul. Did I get that right? Yes. And that doing that on a collective basis and visualized right there. But yet they live it every day, and yet they're tracking it as well, bringing in employers, bringing in government through this program. So incredible work happening there in one of our early communities. I want to take it back briefly to Nayara. How do you see this working out in terms of bringing in employers? I know you're doing so much work on this, as well as tracking outcomes. Tell us a little bit about that collective vision that you have in Sao Paulo.
Great. We have a program in São Paulo that's called Elevado à Potência. It's like Raise to Power. This is a social immersion when we try to take all the CEOs and all companies that intend to hire OI and take them to the reality of public schools and places where they can find the OI and try to give them a social experience to understand in local, not in their buildings, not in the centers of the city, but in local with the OI. And I think that's really systemic, because when we put such leaders to see the reality, what is obvious for me and for youth and for NGOs is not so obvious for them. And they say, now I understand the reality of the territory here in São Paulo. And I lived here, I was born here, and I have never seen that, you know, because it's not an experience that I have lived, that I have experienced myself. And then start changing practice and policies in the company based on that experience. Because what we try to do after the immersion is to move a plan, is to create a plan with them to do a systemic system for hiring OIs in the companies. So GOYN in São Paulo is trying to help them to establish goals and indicators. And we actually did this with partnership with Great Place to Work as well. We started a category as we will give awards and we will recognize best practice for companies that are hiring OI. So they will receive award. They will be the best practices will be put on the media for people who want to do the same. Leaders who want to do the same could subscribe and register for this award in GPTW. So this is a way, the name of the category is Great Place to Work for Opportunity Youth. So we put the name OI in the category so we could change the narrative for the companies and for the CEOs. So that's important because they start moving things from what's important for them as well, as ESG, as practice like that. So I think we need to try to do things in scale, not just one by one. I couldn't talk to each company in São Paulo, but we could do that in a scale way.
Great, thank you. Fantastic work happening in Sao Paulo. You guys almost ready with some questions? All right, I'm going to bring it back to the audience, and then we're going to also close with some asks for our adult allies from our youth, and how do we, anything else that all of our, oh, you're included. You're included in the youth category. So all of our, Nayara is still a youth. We can have our youth on the panels give us some advice and recommendations. Just on that note, by the way, last night we had a dinner and we decided that we not only needed mentorship for youth, but even more importantly, we needed mentorship for the parents. What do you guys think? Because we don't know what we're doing half the time, most of the time. So we're starting a global parent conference, global parent conference convening. Yes, so that's going to be part of the answer, to fix parents' mindsets around the world. So get ready with some recommendations from all our young people on the panel. So throwing it back out to the audience, who has some questions for our panelists? Is there a mic? Just say your name, where you're from. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Rashid Salim. I'm from Kwale. I'm a Kenyan from Kwale. You have talked about youth opportunities, whereby youth communities are involving youths. But now, what does it mean? Because many times, you don't involve people with disability. You are just talking about normal people. How should we achieve our goals? That is my opportunity. So if you want to talk about achieving our goals, you must involve us. Thank you.
Go ahead, all yours, Amina.
Thanks. A very great question. Good question. There are times I think we fall victims in this. And one thing I realize is not just about those that are implementing programs, but rather even the recipients. For example, for our work, we are really really engaging employers. But we also realize most of the times, employers shy away from engaging, say, the people living with disability because of fear of an extra effort they need to make. Part of what we did in the health sector, we engaged one of our employer who is a manufacturing industry. And when we engaged part of the network that we have, we got them in. But then a question was, how will they thought it's just easy in engaging them. But you needed an interpreter. They didn't figure that out. But that's why GOYN is here. We are trying to integrate all this. And I think maybe in the years to come, we'll get to come and say that we've that get the HR actually to understand what kind of people is once they are addressing this kind of community. And we actually realize whenever he needs assistance, he would that yes, we have part of employers who would really love to work with people living with disability, but there is that fear of an extra effort they would need to make. And that's why I think there's still that 50-50 of whether or not should we engage this kind of a community. But I do believe we are getting there, because each and every time the youth advisory group members in Mombasa would pose us a question on, are we really inclusive? And yeah, we are working on it. Thanks.
Fantastic. Other questions? Yes, in the back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is George Ojo. I'm a Kenyan. I want to thank you very much for a wonderful panel discussion on opportunity for youths. My big question is, in the youths that we have, if we are to connect them with job opportunities, do they really have the capacity to be absorbed in the companies that we have around? If not so, what are we doing to ensure that before the prime age of youth expires, they are capacitated, that they can be advantaged to join individual groups? Secondly, I wish the Minister for Youth is around. Is there any network that is there that we can liaise with the government and the county government to have an MOU that we can portion courtesy of GOYN, that when recruitments for NYS, that is National Youth Service, we have this particular number of youths to join so that they can be empowered in those respective places. Then lastly, what plans do we have? Because youths don't move from heaven. They are young children that generate into youth, okay? And then they don't become youths forever. Is there a way we can manage the children so that when they reach youthful age, they are more empowered, more capable, so that we reduce resources to only manage youth at this particular level? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that Elizabeth's an expert on Mombasa, she's going to answer all Mombasa-related questions. Right? Yes, over to you, Elizabeth.
Hi. Okay, so on the second question, which is how do we ensure young children become youths, I'm going to leave that to Alice and the new global parent convening that she is planning on hosting. However, to your first question, I think this is something that has me deeply worried. Right? We know there are many young people in Mombasa who are looking for a job, more young people in Mombasa coming of age every year. So pre-pandemic numbers, 373,000 young people in Mombasa who are looking for connections to employment and education, with another 49,000 young people every year becoming of working age. And we know that there aren't enough jobs for all of those young people. And I think sometimes there are businesses to Mombasa, and so we've been working with GDI and Swahili Pot to start a Greater Mombasa Region Economic Development Council that will include government, the private sector, workforce skilling organizations, and young people to really think about how to not just do skilling and training, but also bring more businesses and more jobs to Mombasa so that the skilling and training is moving towards placement into jobs.
Just to add on that point, I think there is a new power that we need to invest on, and it is the power of utilizing local resources. Yes. There are local resources here, plenty of them, that they are unmapped. We need to now have a tripartite, strong relationship with the government, who is bringing in policies, systems, and structures, to the private sector, who are bringing in opportunities, either the fiduciary or non-fiduciary resources, and to the community who houses the young people. So what we need is just a little bit of effort in sitting down, from co-designing together to evaluation. That journey needs to be facilitated as soon as yesterday. Thank you.
Are you going to sit on the Greater Mombasa Economic Development Council? Yes.
He can be the definite youth representative. That's fantastic. Thanks for volunteering him.
Yeah.
Incredible. So I'm going to ask everyone to share some parting words with all of us as we close out the day. I'm actually going to share just a couple of perspectives from what I've heard that's so critical for a successful place-based approach, where context really is everything. And so some of the things is just a really deep understanding of place. And even for me, I've been working here just scratching the surface, but a real commitment, a real understanding and really not just listening, but hearing of what's happening. It's that long-term commitment alongside that deep understanding that makes place-based approaches absolutely critical. Bringing in all the stakeholders that we see to the table. Deep commitment to measurement, I think, is another one that we've heard. But we also have to be really authentic. There's massive structural injustice. And whenever I started with some thoughts around vulnerability, well, there's a lot of vulnerability involved to give up power. And we heard yesterday that young people need to take power, but people also have to give up power. And that's really, really difficult. And so that's even a reflection for myself as I end the day with this panel. And I'm going to hand it over, and Amrita, you're going to have our last word. We're going to go down the line with some parting thoughts as we go into our evening. So that's my thought of the day. How do we give up more power to our young people, to the people that should drive the agenda? Thanks so much. Over to you, Joseph. Last words
as the only other gender seated here. So Amina was requesting me to go fast.
The Kenyan boy child.
Yes, and I'll be a strong advocate of that. My parting shot as I wrap up is, number one, let us not underestimate the power of a local voice. Because the power of a local voice has given us a lot of opportunities, including the global convening that we have today. It took people locally in Mombasa to think and accept. Maybe on trial, or maybe it was deliberate, but here we are hosting other young people from all over the world just to showcase our local initiatives. And that is very powerful. To the government institution, both levels, just a question. Do your policies speak to the current shift of times and dynamics? We had COVID. How did young people bounce back and be resilient? Has the House of Representatives thought of that? That we need to invest more in innovative and creative ideas for young people, long term. As we think of the present, what will the future be like? To the civil society, who have been players for years, NGOs, INGOs, are you willing to risk the investments for young people? I know there are conventional donors. We need to move from conventional donor ways to unconventional donor ways. Young people, we need to be enabled. We need to be given unlimited access to resources, information, technology, and a space where we can test our prototypes. To us, the community that are here, let us not underestimate our common or local voice, because it has done us wonders at Swahili Pot and our other initiatives locally. Thank you.
Incredible. Spread it.
That was great. Thank you. And I had to make sure that I write my parting shot. So there's what you know, or there's what we know, slash there's what we have been doing that has become a habit, but there's what you ought to adapt or embrace for you to continue thriving. You see, in as much as we are here really vouching about place-based, there's also what we say at all times, that change is inevitable, right? And so how are we leveraging on the changes in, say, technology, development, to ensure that in as much as our community is used to our culture, how do we retain that, but again, embrace what is coming to us in order for us to continue thriving and developing in terms of economy? So I think that will be mine, and ensuring that for all the stakeholders, say the government, at least we loosen up a bit, and hear both sides. What do they have to say? We know that you're coming from a point of none, but then can you hear us a bit so that we get to meet at a point and solve issues together? And to our elders, we are saying, in as much as we are youths, we still would want to hear your thoughts. We still would want advice so that we get to at least work on what we are thinking, the ideas that we have, to become better seniors, actually, when we are out of the youth age. So thank you very much.
I'm actually going to, if you have anything to share, but I was just going to say maybe have young people share their parting thoughts at the end. So Elizabeth, Lori, if you can go. Then I'm going to ask Amruta and then Nayara and then Michelle last. So Elizabeth, go ahead.
So thinking about power and how to shift power dynamics is actually where I think my job gets really fun. We spend a large portion of our portfolio thinking about how we can support youth voice, youth leadership, and youth organizing, because we believe those are the things that will shift power, and once we shift power, we can shift systems, right? How do young people find their voice and tie that to advocacy, tie that to grassroots organizing, and then tie that to larger systems change? So that's the funnest part of what I get to do. And we really try to find organizations who live those values. Organizations like OIC, organizations like GDI, Swahili Pot, NOYA, Youth Build Mexico, they are not here, but Iniciativa Ciudadana, really thinking about how they change their own organizations and their own systems and the ways in which they work to center youth, not just bring youth on, but really center them and then empower youth. Or not really empower, because as we said, empower youth to go out and take their own power to move the world in the way that they want it.
Thanks so much for that. Lori, over to you.
I think it's partnering as an adult with young adults to learn about what they think and feel and their ideas, and then learning and then sharing with them the other way. And so that young adult partnership is so valuable for a number of places. I learn just as much from the young adults I work with, I think, as they learn from me. And so making sure that when we're going into spaces, my role as the adult ally is to make sure that young people feel seen, heard, have the opportunity to speak up, and when there's tensions that come up from adults' egos not wanting to hear young people, it's my responsibility to tap that other adult on the shoulder and to have a conversation with them about sharing power. And so it's active work that needs to be done, because you do have to take power, you have to share power, and you have to be very comfortable with yourself in order to give up power. And not a lot of people know how to do that.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we're having a real conversation actually about power structures. Fantastic. Amrita?
All the teachers and mentors have repeatedly reminded this. I must practice what I preach. This thought, may it be in the center of all the youth advocates. When we are talking about well-being, it is our responsibility to work towards our well-being. If we are teaching financial independence to others, it is our responsibility to work on our own financial independence. May this approach, may this thought be there in each of our lives, so that our young people have many role models every day around. That is one thought. And a sense of gratitude is there, because this place-based approach is rooted in the global network support. So this place-based approach is taken ahead 24/7 in different countries. Different people are thinking about young people. So this is the sharing of power, the sense of collective self. It is not my one isolated, lonely, limited self. It's the collective power and collective self. I'm very grateful for it.
Amazing. Thank you. The collective self, so powerful. Thank you for that. Nayara?
I think to share power, people need to share advantages, interests. They need to share an agenda. They need to share a common point of view, but seeing the advantages for everybody. And when I say advantages, I'm saying everyone wants a less violent society. Everybody wants a more equal society. So to have that, you need to dialogue. You need to listen to all stakeholders because they will have their perspectives, their interests, their goals, and you need to put everybody in the same table and try to find a way that everybody sees a common agenda, a common goal. And you need to understand what is the best way to go at the same direction. Because if you isolate the impact, if you say, well, I need to do some interventions, some social projects, and some action, and I don't want anyone else receiving money, I don't want any NGO competing with me, I want to do everything alone because I want that money and they are competition. And I want that government privilege just myself, just my city, just my community. That won't work. That won't make sense because that's not how human works. You need to think about how to share that power through what is functional for everybody. And that won't, in my opinion, it won't just happen. It will just happen if you dialogue and if you understand their point of view.
Amazing. Thank you. All right, bring us home, Michelle, as we end the day.
Yes, I'm glad because this will be my last year as a global youth. I am making a transition from cousin to auntie. For me, when I think about how do we share power, we first have to reimagine what power is. I think we have so long been invested in the idea of power as something dangerous, as something authoritative, as something that is inequitable. But that's only because of the oppressive systems that we live in, is why we frame power in such a way. I want to reimagine power for what it is. Power is resistance. Power is collective. Power is community. And so not only do we have to reimagine our relationships to power, but we also have to reimagine the brilliance of our young people. I come from a city where our young people are often regulated to positions in hospitality or in the construction trades because people are afraid to think bigger and to think what isn't present. And so I want to share power by helping to create more, I want to shift power by investing in young people's dreams and their interests. We don't have to regulate ourselves to limited fields. There's so much we can do. I could have never imagined when I was 18 years old being in Mombasa, Kenya, and speaking to the work I'm doing if I wasn't reimagining what was possible for me. So again, it's about that divestment away from the current structural power systems that we exist in. It's about reimagining what is possible for not just our young people, for every person in this global universe that we exist in, but also it's about deepening our investments in our young people and really allowing them to lead this work. And when I say that, it also means that they have to lead this work and we have to truly be behind them and 10 toes down to make sure that whatever it is that they want to accomplish, they know that when they turn around, we are present and we're not going anywhere. Woo!
Amazing. Well, I'm going to end it on that note. What an incredible, incredible panel with so many fantastic thoughts. Just so much gratitude for sharing, for your vision, everything that you've done today, and in the course of all the work that you're doing back in your own communities. So let's give a huge round of applause for everyone here. Awesome. We are going to do some closing remarks. I'm sure that'll include some logistics and so forth. So thank you again. And picture together. One quick photo. I'm going to pass it over to Esha.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A round of applause for our beautiful plenary. That was amazing. Photographers come and play. As the photographers are doing their thing, I think one thing that we have realized since today morning, the power of this place called Mombasa, especially young people that are coming from here. Mombasa, hi. We have so much opportunities, both locally and even outside here, Kenya, that are waiting for us. And we are the only one who are able to ensure that happens. And today, something else that has happened that highlighted my day is when Jamie stood here. The number of women that he called as partners. Did you guys see? Did you guys see the women? Please, please come here. Come, we need to take a picture. The ladies. Thank you. Come, let's take a picture and just see what women are doing around the globe. And this is to tell the younger woman in Mombasa, in Kenya, and in Africa that it's possible, it can happen, and there is nothing like limits. There is nothing like limits. All the women that were here called by Jamie, come to the stage. Yes! Just look at them. Just look at them. They are funding big projects. Big projects. And this is the power that we are talking about, that it is possible, it can happen, and it will happen. It's just with determination and with a lot of gratitude. Either way, thank you so much for taking part of this beautiful plenary since morning. It was wonderful, and I hope you all enjoyed. If you enjoyed, say yeah. Thank you very much, and I have to be at the center of this picture.
All right, guys. I'm looking handsome. I'm looking good. Because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. All right, guys. I have two very important announcements, right? So tomorrow we will come here a little bit earlier. So the bus will go to the hotel from here, from the hotel to here at 7:30. All right? Not at 8, at 7:30. All right? And the second thing, I know that we have a special dinner for founders, and we will have Fatima will be up. Look at there, Fatima. So just for founders, Fatima will go with you all to the bus, all right? So when we finish, if you are a founder, go there, all right? All right? So for me, today is a really, really special day because now I'm married, all right?
Sure.
But I know that is a special day for other person. Do you know who is this special person?
They're about to sing about it.
Okay, so who's ready to have some fun? Do you remember yesterday how late it was? It's about to get even later than it was yesterday. So get ready to introduce on stage once again, New Dawn Band. Woo, welcome now on stage.
Children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them hey, hey! Hey, hey, hey! Are you guys well? Are you guys okay? Are you ready to have fun? Come on. All right, this is a special dedication. Wanza na furaha. Yalla. Happy birthday to the special people celebrating the birthday today. Happy birthday, Chaitanya. Happy birthday. Wanza na furaha, nitaimba na kucheza, washa mishumaa, weka keki juu ya meza, oh ila usinicheke, ninakuletea zawadi kidogo nilichobarikiwa, haki mwana mpeke, aje na tumbo la maji, asije kakumwagikia, nakapicha kako nitakaposti, hey! Wasokupenda itawakosa. Leo siku yako nishajikoki, tuko rafiki zako tunasema happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, yeah. Simwagi pombe leo ntaleo, zikinipana mori ya unaleo, niwepe wangu walochelewa, zikinipana mori ya unaleo, ila usifogeti kusema asante baba na mama, walokukuza ukakuwa, akulinde baba, Maulana, nakuombea na dua, naza picha kako nitawaposti. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Chaitanya and Jacqueline. Jacqueline. Open my coffee. Let's celebrate them together. Happy birthday.
Hello, Jumbo. So I'm very happy. So I'm very glad to thank you so much, all of you. So today I don't have any word to say because I never thought कि मेरा बर्थडे ऐसे कुछ जगह होगा. Thank you so much, all of you.
Jacqueline.
Assalamu alaikum. Mimi nashukuru Aki imenipata kama surprise, but thank you.
And it's also Beatrice's birthday.
Hello. I'm very happy. Yeah, and I wish all my dreams to come true. Thank you.
So as you go and eat the cake, we need everybody to stand up for the next one. We want to dance.
Afro mama, mtoto asagale mama, salamu zangu na kutumia popote ulipo zipo.